Welcome to Pro Practice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is based on the Hungarian Rhapsody No.6 by Franz Liszt. Before we get started with the tutorial portion of today's video, I thought I'd go ahead and play just a small portion of the piece for those of you who may not be familiar with it, although my guess is if you're watching this tutorial, you're very familiar with the piece and might need some pointers with octaves or a whole host of other technical difficulties that this piece presents. So I'll go ahead and play a little bit of this and then we'll dive in. Here we go. Okay, we'll stop there. This piece has 4 distinct sections. You can think of this first part, this tempo giusto, which ends with this cadenza, and ends with this cadence. As the first section, then it goes into this presto, which is so fun. Then we see the lasan, the traditional lasan, which is the slow section, and then the frisca. So the lasan starts here in bar 73. And then finally we see the allegro section in 93, which strikes fear in the hearts of every pianist first playing this or playing it for a long time, like me. Okay, so it starts out very cute and innocent, and then okay, and we will get to, and then it continues to grow. Okay, and I'm going to treat that final section almost like a masterclass in octaves. I'm going to take you through all the traditional methods that I like for octaves that I teach all of my students and that I apply myself, and then also some discoveries I've recently made preparing for this tutorial. I've only brought this back in the last week or so. I played this as a teenager quite a bit, maybe from age 14 to 16. Then I played an all Liszt program maybe 10 or 12 years ago, and I brought this back for that. So I'm very familiar with the piece. I've taught it a few times, but I'm right between concerts right now. I just performed all the Chopin Scherzi, just finished up some concerts with that, and then I have a few concerts in a couple more weeks here. So we're squeezing this tutorial in. I've spent the last week or so bringing it back. It comes back pretty easily when you've played it a lot when you're younger. But there are some things that I've discovered bringing it back this time around that I hadn't thought of before, so we'll get into those as well. I'm also going to place a heavy emphasis on hand redistribution. I think, I shouldn't have said this, but there's a great Harry Potter quote that says, I don't have much time for heroes. I just love that line. I believe it was Dumbledore. Anyway, show you how geeky I am there, but you don't have to be a hero in every cadenza and take it all in one hand and pretend that you're going to one day get it like Schifra can play it. You might. I certainly won't. So I'm going to show you some hand divisions that are going to make your life a lot easier and just make the music sound better because it's less stress on you. I'll also show you some strategies that I've used for like quick jumping octaves, some solutions to get around those to make them more accurate, and also some things to create illusions, also some fun extra stuff that you can do to extend it. Some things I heard in Schifra's recording and Horowitz, and there is no shortage of incredible recordings of this piece. Everybody has their favorite. This tutorial is not going to turn you into Argerich or Schiffer or Horowitz or name any, or Alexei Grinyuk. Certainly I couldn't afford the wrist motor that he had installed in his wrist to be able to play octaves. I'm just joking. He's just incredible. It looks like a machine as he's playing. It is so quick. I noticed in Argerich's very famous recording, she's around 120 to 140 with her octaves. I'm definitely in the 120 to 130 range, 4 notes per click. Grinyuk and Schifra get into crazy speeds like 150, 160, 170 in places. I don't know how to do that. I also wanted to say I have a student who can actually play octaves better than I can. I taught him everything that I'm going to teach you guys in here, but some people are have a predisposition to play octaves really well. There's like finer motor skills. So you may be one of those people, you may not, but all the suggestions that I want to go over in today's tutorial should at least aid in getting them a lot better than where they're currently at if you're out of ideas on how to get octaves better. So with all that said, let's jump into just a touch of history behind this. I said those 4 sections were very distinct. They were all drawn from earlier music that Liszt had published. So in the late 1830s, he became very obsessed with the national music of Hungary. In 1840, Haslinger published 2 volumes of Hungarian national melodies by Liszt. I hope I'm saying this correctly. I don't speak Hungarian, but Magyardalok, it's spelled Magyardolak. More volumes followed in the coming years, 1842, 43, and 46, with other pieces. And then in 1848, Liszt is in Weimar. He started a revision of some of his previous works. In 1851, he announces these Hungarian Rhapsodies, and he drew, especially in the 6th Rhapsody, he drew from a lot of that earlier material. So each of these were distinct little pieces, and then he kind of stitched them all together. So this piece was published in 1853. All right, here we go. It's up to you whether you like to take this top note in the right hand. Might be a little easier to voice that way. Often I just take these first ones in the left, but then I do this. Rather than, I just don't like jumping to the pinky on a really important note like that. I like to be stable on those notes, so I'll take this one in the right hand. It's also peculiar. It's in 2/4 time, but this sounds like an upbeat. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. But that's not what's going on. It's 1 and 2 and 3. Adds just a little bit of rhythmic intensity, emotional intensity there. A little bit of friction. Okay, when you get to here, you can absolutely go down like that, but I like personally to go down here for extra strength. You might also notice that I played this differently than some recordings. A lot of recordings, because it's marked forte, just start out huge. I like to start a little more mysteriously. And then, as the notation builds, so does the dynamics. Some recordings will do a sharp staccato. Liszt marks a staccato here, but then they don't follow the other staccatos marked, so they'll go, and then all pedaled, and then I personally don't love that, but to each his own, or to each her own. And then another option, this is the one I learned when I was young, that Susan Dolmeyer, my brilliant teacher, who I still see, suggested, and this is really fun too. So if you like a drier version, this is great. I personally have landed, just in my own opinion, on my own, just what I want to do is I want to pedal this, because there is so much cute stuff coming up. that I like this. That's what I'm convinced of. Okay, moving on. So we're in bar 5 and 6 here. One thing I would challenge you to do is don't just think vertically. Think to there. He's very explicit about those slurs. So while we can't perfectly connect those in our hands, we can think of the impetus going down to the 1, 2, 1. It adds an extra energy and kind of this legato connectedness. People that look at piano as just a percussion instrument will say, "Oh, that's crap." You know, there's no difference between feeling it inside and playing up like that. But it changes the way you play it dynamically. The next thing that I want to go over is absolutely adopt this mentality of nearly double dotting. I remember in lessons, Sergei Babayan would say things like, you know, if we were going to kind of double dot a 8th note into a 16th note, he's like, I want a 19th note. Of course, no such thing as exists, but I thought that was a brilliant way of saying it because he doesn't want like true double dotting where it would be a 32nd note, but he didn't also want just a straight 16th. So this is a dotted 16th note. So you could think of, you know, a 39th note or whatever you want to think. What that will do is that will add that intensity, that nationalist feeling. And then character change. How I like to do this is voice the tops a little bit more. And I like to take a lot of time, then reset with the staccato. And I like the staccatos to maybe start out just a little slower and then rush and then take time. Again, emphasizing silence will enhance the character of this. So rather than that. So again, almost double dotting there. Almost turning that into something slightly faster than a 32nd, but not quite as fast as a 64th. I don't want it that sharp and jagged. Okay, now I've debated. When I was younger, I would do these quick trills, which I loved, and I still love that. But as I've looked at the music, Liszt writes triplets in bar 12 and bar 20, and then over here, he writes trills followed by this. So I've come to the decision to do the little trill before the note so that I can truly do a triplet. But a lot of recordings just do 3-note trills. I personally just like the flair of a 4-note trill. I think it just sounds a little bit more fanciful. And with Liszt being one of the greatest improvisers of all time, feel free to explore these different possibilities. Don't be locked into, oh, this is the norm, so I have to do it this way. Especially listen to, a lot of people love or hate Schifra, but listen to his middle section. He does a lot of like exploratory. He does extra notes, but that I think is truly great piano playing in that section. I mean, the whole piece is amazing. Whether you like his style or not, he has fireworks everywhere so far as technical prowess, but the improvisatory nature of that slow section on his, and you know, unexpected things that you don't hear in a lot of other recordings, so amazing. So everybody has their favorites. That's just one that I resonated with in that middle section a lot. And just going back to these decisions of like a 3-note trill versus a 4-note trill, do what sounds best to your ears. Okay, moving on. You could leave that. I just like a quick pedal change there to clear out the chromaticism there, the E to the F. And then here, on this chord, this C flat major chord, I like it to be just a little bit cooled off. So this D flat sounds huge. And then a little cooler. Maybe just start a little less. And crescendo. And then again, less. Whenever you go less, I don't know if I even said this earlier. I was thinking of saying it, then I got onto something else. You can create a feeling of being less without killing the vibrancy by just voicing the top note a lot and then playing a little less on everything else. So, see, I still have that vibrant top there. So, and I like that to be really cute. So, if you're having trouble doing that quickly, practice just the bottom notes, just the top notes, and then just this, and just this, and then that should fix it after some time. So some people will like to slur that. In this Henley edition, it just has it in parentheses. Going to there, so that's an option, or that's what I always did. Okay, moving on. G flat major. I like to be forte, but more rich and full rather than in-your-face celebratory. Here's my first hand redistribution. I have decent left-hand trills, but they're not nearly as fast as my right-hand trills. So I just come grab this with my favorite right-hand trill. One of my favorites is 1-2. And then I just take those last two notes and just reset and change the pedal on that roll. Okay, so you can totally just do that, and it's a little easier for the right hand because you're just up here, but if you get all nervous and your hand tightens up rather than give them a really nice trill. So it's up to you. Based on the quality of your left-hand trills, you can do what you want. But I always, even though my left-hand trills are plenty fast for a short one like that, I just never liked it as much as, I never felt as confident as just... Also, I didn't have good left-hand trills when I was young, and I mostly just played this when I was younger. Like I said, I only brought this back for a short period. I probably brought it back in a period of 1 or 2 months when I was in my mid-20s, and I haven't touched it since. So I really haven't played this much since my teenage years, and my left-hand trills are way better than they used to be, but I like that. So take it for what it's worth. So this... that's not so in your face. So I like this to be a little bit more calm and serene. So and a little more calm and serene there is what I mean. So then mysterious. And don't feel like you got to go to there. Take your time. And for left-hand fingering, I mostly just like the 5-3-1 there. And then here you can do a variety of whatever feels good in your hands. So for instance, on this, I'm doing some of them, 5-3-1, 3-1, let's see. And then 2-1, 2-1, 4-1. So you can do whatever feels comfortable. 3-1, 3-1, 3-1 is what I like. And then 2-1, 2-1, 4-1. Let's see. Oh gosh, I'm out of sorts here. Oh yeah, right hand. 4-2-1, 5-3-1, 4-2-1, 3-1, 5-3-1, 5-3-1, 5-2-1. So it's whatever you like again. Some people are gonna like all 5-3-1s going up, besides that last one, obviously. Some people will like 4-5, 4-5, 4-5. Some people will like 4-5 all the way up. Some might even like what I'm doing, which is 4-5-4-4-5-5. So I do 4-5-4-4-5-5. So whatever you like. Oh, another distribution that I wanted to mention. Most people like a 1-3, a 1-2, a 3-2, a 4-2 trill more than something in the top of their hand. So, and they don't like to jump whenever possible. So rather than jumping down to there, feel free to take 5-2-1. Take that G flat that's written in the right hand, but take it down in the left. So that's bar 28. I forgot to mention it in 12 and 20. 5-2-1 there. Same thing in 20. Same thing over here in 28. Now he marks fortissimo here, so maybe you're bigger here. Another option I did when I was younger is, and I still would probably do it today, is something that's totally against the grain, maybe piano, mezzo piano. It's the fourth time we had the first one, and then we had this one, and then we had this one that wasn't quite so big. So I think fourth time, you could throw something in different there. This is bar 29. Just my opinion. You might have your teacher yell at you because it's marked fortissimo, so take it for what it's worth. And I like this to be, you know, yearning. And then it's like, who cares? Pretty playful, just very childlike there. And you could even be thoughtful up to there. And then this, very cute. Now I'm gonna get to some wrist exercises later on to loosen you up. But you can see how loose I am when I play that. 2 exercises, 2 videos you can go look up on YouTube are free hands. I have 2 free hands. It's the first one, not free hands part 2. You just release into a neutral position. Sergei Babayan taught me both of these, and they were so helpful. So you're just kind of grabbing the keys and releasing into a neutral position. This is one of the counterintuitive things about piano playing. You think, oh, I got to stay in that position, you know, stay locked into that octave because that will be more efficient. But that causes unnecessary tension. So I'm not like, when I'm actually playing, not releasing into a tight fist or, you know, a closed hand like this. But when I'm doing this exercise, I'm closing the hand. Building on that is something called the up-down exercise. Babayan didn't name it that, but this is the concept. That's just what I named it. So you're going to come back almost like you're going to hit your face. You got to come way back, arm lifts up a little, and then you throw your hand down. If you accidentally hit a note on the way down, don't stress. It's going to help us with the octaves later. And I always like the little bit of a surprise silence. And take your time, and then even more gentle. And then surprise. You know, we think that's going to come, but it doesn't. Now here, it's written like this. And then, I've never stressed about that, because I actually kind of like just the straight roll to the top. So it's up to you. You can grab that, or you can do this. I even heard another recording do. a straight roll. I didn't like that as much because it took so much time, but it's a creative idea nonetheless. I would just do that, but then I would play chords here. Chord, single note. Roll, chord, single note. And then here. So I like to start less. Okay, little masterclass on trills. It's made up of two elements, finger action and wrist rotation. So if you're having a hard time with this, overdo the rotation and just feel a little bit of finger grabbing. You can isolate the finger grabbing just to feel what that feels like. And then couple it with wrist motion. Okay, now we're gonna stay down in the keys. You're not gonna lift off the keys. And you can just practice short bursts, 3 notes. And then 4 notes, 5 notes, both directions, 6 notes. Sorry. Some people like to tuck their 4-5 under while you do this. It's not like a gripping of the palm. It's just a little tuck under. Argerich does stuff like this. In this Scarlatti Sonata. And I forgot to even look at her 1960s recording, what she's doing there. Maybe she's doing that. I just think that's pretty comfortable. You could also do something like 1-3 and then just slide the thumb down. It's a little busier. I don't love it. I also love 2-4. And I like to start on the upper note. A lot of people start on this note, but I don't like da-dum, pa-dum. I like dee-dum, pa-tee-dum. I just like the effect that has. Okay, let's move on to this cadenza and how we can divide it up.